Hi everyone, let's talk about the concept of bias. This is statistics number 6. It's not a very long video, but I want to talk about the concept of bias because it's in a couple of your homework questions and you're going to turn that in. And then it also shows up in some of your of the problems I have on the board today, which are really extensions and review questions that you've done. In fact, it says, one of the homework problems, it says, determine whether the survey question is biased, if bias suggests a different wording. So what is bias? That's the big question. What is bias? Well, bias is a systematic, so let me write that down, systematic, not random, so it's not by accident, but it's a systematic deviation, sorry about my pen here, deviation from a true value. So say for instance, I choose one of these sampling procedures, say convenience samples, and I want to interview all Washoe County students and find out what their dreams are for the future. And that's my population of interest. And then what I do is every time I make a sample, I only get students from Hug High School. Well, if that's the case, then what happens is I have built into whatever my sampling procedure is some systematic deviation from the truth, which is what are high school students' dreams of the future. And that's not saying that Hug students might not have the same dreams as someone else, but we're probably going to be specific to what Hug students dream about, whatever that may happen to be. And so the problem is with the way I chose the sample. If every time I'm choosing a sample I'm only getting Hug students or I only get Damonte Ranch students, and I really want to know about what all the high school students in the city think, then the way I have devised that sample creates the systematic deviation from whatever would be the true value. Another way to think of bias, for example, would be, suppose you get on your scale at home to weigh yourself and you turn the dial so it's always a pound or two below zero when nobody's on it, so that when you get on it you always look like you're lighter than you really are. What you have done is you have created a bias in the scale. Another way to create bias is, suppose you're trying to do an opinion poll about presidential candidate preferences. Well, what you could do is you could take a random sample of 1,000 individuals, but then they all are from Reno, Nevada. Well, that's going to create some kind of bias because Reno, Nevada might not be representative of the country. And so that's what bias does. It's a systematic way to create a deviation, okay, from whatever might actually be true. And you can do this by the way you ask questions. That's often called questioning bias. You can do this by a bad sampling procedure. That would be called sample bias. And so there are lots of kinds of bias, and that's what you want to look for. Anyway, I hope this video helps. That's it. I'm done. Your homework while I'm gone today is on the board, and it will be about some review problems, mostly over the vocabulary ideas. Okay, see you later.